But yet, if you wanted to remove her from office today, her tribesmen and women will come and say, that is our daughter. I saw the case of the acting commissioner, IG, who literally disobeyed court orders. And people are saying, but he's from our tribe. And this happens, and I always remind myself this, that when a country is hurtling towards its destruction, then even when God himself reasons with their leaders and the people, they think God mad. They sacrifice at the altar of ethnicity to the detriment of the nation. So they are complicit in all these. But if people are angry and they want the right things done, then they will insist that the things be done. And I want once again to remind all of us of what happened in Bangladesh, which was after the Gen Z protests in Kenya. They were so dissatisfied with the Sheikh Hasina government, and they were disciplined. They went to her palace. She was airlifted to India. The ministers have all run away, and then they appointed somebody to be in a caretaker position because they were angry and they know what they want. Kenyans know what is wrong. But when it comes to tribe, somehow we give it a pride of place. And that is why the country continues to underachieve. That is why we are not running a democracy. We are running a kakistocracy, a government of our very worst. I listened to some of the lady talking about the impeachment of the Kericho governor. And I said, this is our leader. Can barely make sense and articulate an issue. And yet, those are the individuals whom we prefer because they have an explained wealth, because they come from our tribe, because they come from our clan. The foundation is wrong.
Pielo, the common thread in everything you've said appears to be not only an accommodation, but an acceptance of impunity. So that when we see it manifested in different ethnic groups, it is a commonality.
Yes.
Because everything we see, when you talk about a position of authority being given to someone in the form of a CS, what is it you're looking at? You're looking at power, and you're looking at what purportedly one could benefit. So it appears that the one thing we seem to have accepted as a nation is that wrong is not only tolerated, but it is accepted so long as it suits our own. And on that, we seem to have agreed. Because it's the same issue every time you hear of a governor, either expecting, anticipating, or there's a threat of impeachment. There are always people who support that individual. There are always people who don't. And everything that is complained about has to do with how it is. They have a complete and total disregard for what we know as what is right, or as what is in the Constitution. And if I look at some of the rulings that our courts have had of late, it has been about constitutionality.
Yes.
Saying, all this thing is saying, this is not constitutional.
Yeah.
So if it isn't constitutional and people have been doing it, NGCDA, for instance, right now,
Yes.
it's not the first time. This thing has been in the courts, and the courts has pronounced itself several times. But again, there's a hue and cry about it. How on earth do we cure this disease that seems to have taken root? We seem to have determined as a nation that we will disregard what is right.
You know, City, you are so right that in this country, the truth depends. It depends on which tribal affiliation you are talking about, and that is relevant. And that is a tragic thing. If you look at even the whole fight against corruption, if you arrest anybody, they say he is a thief, we know, but he's our very own. And therefore, he's our thief, and therefore he or she ought not to be punished. And it's because the foundation is wrong. I always remember Mwalimu Nyerere saying this very eloquently, saying that when a nation is bankrupt of ideas, then they sacrifice at the altar of ethnicity or religion. In Kenya, it is ethnicity. And the question you are posing, how do we deal with it? History has demonstrated that if you have leadership at the top that walks the talk, it can be eliminated.
I want to ask our courts to know that the judges and magistrates are also parents. I want to request them to be fair to the people of Kenya and allow us to carry on with this exercise. Much as we want people to go to court to seek justice, we want to ask the courts to not give expiration. Let them hear the complainants, let them also hear the government, and then they can make a determination. But we want to say that the war is on, and there is no let up, and this will continue for as long. The political will is at the highest level. President William Ruto has given his all to this war. I am his deputy, he has asked me to oversee it. Professor Kindiki is more than persuaded. All our officers are cooperating. Members of the National Assembly are on board. You have seen them here. Members of the Senate are on board. This is a war for all Kenyans, and the church is on board. In fact, we have the goodwill, not just of the political class, but of the Church of Christ, from the Muslims, from Wananchi themselves, from our women, from our men. The support is total, and that is why this war will succeed. Asanteni sana.
The amazing thing is that today is a very sad day in Kenya, but many people don't know it. Because it's not sad for us, it's sad for the generation that's coming up. I believe we have seen the biggest mistake that has ever been made. It's bigger than post-election violence, bigger than tribalism, bigger than kicking out the vice president. It's bigger than division of parties and all those things. Na hii issue ni kuallow the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or called the Gates Foundation, cooperate with limited restrictions. Just do your research and see what they have done around the world. GMO, healthcare, vaccines, we have given free rein to this organization, which is the biggest mistake we could have ever done. Now, what's going to happen next? The next step that you will see is digital IDs, digital birth certificates. Ask me why and I'll tell you why that is part of their strategy. But man, it's a sad day for Kenya. It's a sad day for Kenya. Do your research. Do your research. You'll see it.